Well, now that it's September, it's time to inspect your bee colonies and basically do a winterization check. That's what I do. And where we live here in the south, our winters are not as severe as in a lot of climates. So what I like to check for as we get into the fall season and going into winter time, I want to make sure, number one, that they've got enough honey in their colony. And this is a 5-frame nucleus colony that I've got here, and I've supered it twice. So now, as long as there's enough bees that are covering all the frames in here, I want to make sure that they have one box that's filled with all honey. 5 frames, all honey. That will help all my colonies here where I live get through the winter. Where you live, it might be colder and the winters may last longer. And in your case, you might need to have 2 honey supers full of honey for your colonies to get through the winter. And this colony here is an 8-frame beehive. And as long as I've got a lot of bees covering all these frames, I want to make sure again that I have 1 full super of 8 frames of honey to go through the winter. Now, if you don't have enough honey, you can help the bees. Honey is the best thing for them. If they're light, and if maybe you didn't have a good season where you live, what you want to do is feed them some sugar syrup. And you can thicken that in the fall. You can go 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, mix it up, feed that to them, and give it to them every day until you come out and do an inspection, maybe say end of September, and you pick up a box and it's heavy. You want it to be heavy. This box here is a 5-frame medium super that I've got over a nucleus colony, and this should weigh about 35 pounds. And when I pick that up, you can feel that weight. And this 8-frame box that you see here, if that's filled with honey or sugar syrup after they suck it down and they store it in the cells, when I pick that box up, it should weigh about 55 pounds. Okay, so that'll give you an idea of how much weight they need to have in order to get through the winter. It's better to feed them now in the fall if they need it, rather than trying to feed during the winter time. Why do I say this? Well, in the winter time, as you know, your bees will cluster. And that's what they do in order to survive, in order to keep warm. So rather than encouraging them to break the cluster to go get food, it's better for them to have the food now. What they'll do is they'll drink the syrup, they'll store it inside the comb, and then they'll cluster around their own food source. That way they don't have to break the cluster in the wintertime to go eat. So it's always better, if you can help it, number one, leave them enough honey. If you're a good beekeeper and you've had a good bee season where you live, let your bees have enough honey to make it through the winter. That's number one. Number two is if they're light right around now, September, give them something to supplement. Make sure they've got sugar water every day that they can drink, and thicken that syrup up a little bit more than 1-to-1. Give them a 2-to-1 ratio. They'll store it in their cells right where the clusters are going to form. The other thing that I like to make sure of is that I've got a good laying queen going into fall. So when we do our inspections today, I'm going to look to make sure I have a queen. If I don't see the queen, as long as I see eggs, then I know my queen is there, and I've got some young brood. I know she's there. I don't have to find the queen and look at her with my own eyes. As long as I see that evidence of a queen, we're good. And then the other thing is I want to make sure of is I always talk about having a lot of bees covering the frames. So if I, for example, open this colony here, and I don't see a lot of bees covering frames, let's say there's 5 frames worth that are almost empty, there's no honey in them, there's not very many bees covering, I want to take away a box, and I want to condense this from a 3-story beehive to a 2-story, or even maybe a 1, and squeeze them down into a smaller space going into winter. That'll help them ride out the cold temperatures better. And again, just making sure there's enough honey in here. About 1 good box will get this colony through the winter. Even if I have to condense it down by 1, if I've got 5 empty frames, I'll take them out. I'll bring down 1, right here, so that they've got just the 2 stories, and I'll make sure they get at least a full box of honey to go through the winter. I'll use this colony as an example. We're going to go ahead and do the inspection in here, and I want to just check it out, make sure that there's enough honey, and I got a good laying queen, and there's not too much empty comb that the bees aren't really covering. If there is, I'm going to remove it. And if I need to feed them, I'm going to start to feed them today. So I'll get the smoker going. And your bees are a little more protective in the fall, so I've got my veil ready just in case they want to defend the honey supply or their bank account. That's their bank account. You know, all that honey that they've stored over the years, or not the years, but throughout the season, they tend to be a little more protective in the fall. And it's still a little bit early this morning while we're out here on this fine September morning. So we're gonna respect the bees that they may not really want me in there just yet. So we're gonna just crack it, put a little smoke as soon as I crack this, and they're buzzing. They're vocal already this morning, but that doesn't mean that they're nasty bees. They're just doing their job. And as long as they're not flying out attacking you at this point, you can keep moving. And they've got this glued down pretty good. Let's see if we can get this off. Okay, that's my feeder. I'm gonna put it right here. All right, the bees are checking me out just a little bit, so I'm gonna give them a light smoke across the top. This I do see honey in already. And if that's all you see is honey, when you look down in here, then what you want to do is pick it up, feel the weight of it. So I just want to pry. I think I see one empty frame, however. I want to make sure that we don't have too much empty space. I don't want any combs that aren't covered, and I don't want any empty frames. I think I got an empty frame here. I want to see. Sure enough, I do. Yep. Okay. So I've got one empty frame, and the bees didn't draw anything on here because I gave them this when we passed the honey flow. So they were being conservative. They didn't want to spend their resources on drawing new comb. So they didn't draw this at all. Now if I keep finding more and more like this, I'm going to see if I can actually reduce this down to a two box colony. So I've got one frame with just some bees, nothing else. I'm going to set that right here. And I do believe I have another one like that. Get in here. Sure enough. My last inspection here was July 8th, so now it's September 1st. So I let some time go by because we're in the dearth. There's not a lot of activity. So again, got another empty frame. The bees didn't want to spend their resources on drawn comb after the honey flow. Now if I wanted to, I could have kept feeding them right through the dearth, and perhaps they would have drew that comb. But at the same time, you kind of run the risk of the brood nest getting clogged up and then casting a swarm during a dearth, and I don't want that to happen. Okay. And again, what I'm seeing is another frame, barely touched. This one had a starter strip on it, and they're not really too interested in spending their resources on drawn comb. So that's 3 out of 5 that are empty. I'm going to set that right here too. And then what I find is a frame with honey. I'm going to bring that over for you, but it's barely got any honey in it. I mean, it's very light. This one frame alone should hold about a quart of honey. Okay, but it's just got a little bit of honey in there. Not much at all. This colony definitely is light on stores. You can see what the other frame says. Alright, this one's a little heavier. And this one's got some capped honey. A lot of it's uncapped. They're actually using this on their daily feeding rations. Okay. So I'm going to go down another level and see if I find 2 more frames with not too much going on. And if so, I'm going to remove one entire super off of this colony. So that'll go here. And let's go down another level. Okay. I see a lot of bees here, and this is great. A lot of bees covering these frames. Gonna just let them know I'd like to pick up a frame or two with a little light smoke. As you can see, I don't like to use too much smoke. Just a little bit across the tops. And that gets everybody out of your way so you can get your hands over to the bees. Got a little propolis here. Alright, let's go further and see what we have. Again, we're making sure we got honey. And we might even see some brood in here. And I need my reading glasses to see that. Down in here. Now this frame has honey on it also. In fact, that's a full frame of honey. It's mostly capped. So that's good. I like to see that. Alright, let's go down one more. We'll set that right here. Since it's been July was my last inspection, I got things glued in pretty good. Another frame with honey. That's excellent. So I'm glad to see that. Let's go down with another frame over. Again, another frame with honey. So that's great. So far, they got quite a bit of honey. This one had some stress damage to it from the heat. You can see the Georgia heat got a little bit of comb collapse going on this one. See that gap in there? That probably collapsed. I'm glad it didn't flop over entirely. It got close to 100 a few days this summer. It goes back in. Another frame with honey, and no brood in this one. I don't expect to see it, but just in case, I like to check. So another frame with honey, and it looks like this frame also has honey. This has honey and pollen. They are starting to bring in some of that fall pollen now, which is good to see. But what I've noticed about all the frames that I've picked up so far, none of them are really heavy. They don't feel like they hold a full quart of honey. A medium frame like this will hold a little more than a quart of honey. I crush and strain the honey, and I always get at least a quart off of each one of these medium frames, and they don't really feel like they're all that heavy to me. So that's kind of an indication that I could give them some syrup and they could fill those combs up completely. But what's good is I counted 5 frames that are about half full of honey right here, and I took out 2 that are right next to me that are partially full. What I want to do is I want to see if there's 2 more frames that can be removed from this colony, because I'm running 5 frame boxes on it. So if I can remove 2 more frames that are empty, so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for empty frames. So we're going to get right down to the brood chamber next. Let's have a look. And right now, this box probably only weighs about 25 pounds. So as I pick it up, I can kind of gauge the weight. It should be about 35 pounds, about 10 pounds heavier is what we need. So again, looking down in the brood chamber here, get a little smoke so I can get my fingers on these frames. And part of my inspection is going to be making sure we got our queen bee. So take out my beetle trap, which are working great. They really kept things in check. Get that propolis off so I can move things around a little bit. Alright, let's see what they're up to in here. Oh, this looks like a honey frame. It's honey. Well, it's an all-in-one frame. They've got honey, they've got eggs, and they've got some very young larvae. What I'll try to do is let you look here. I don't know how well you can see in here, but here's where the brood is. I saw eggs down in these lower cells and very young brood. And then over here I've got some honey. And this is capped honey. And it's about the same on both sides. Set that right here. And so I know I have a queen. So even if I don't see the queen now, I know I've got one because I found eggs. Now here's a nice brood frame. Again, this is brood, mostly brood, cap brood. Show you that. Some of it's emerging now. So there's some brood that's capped, nice and toasty brown, which is hatching out. A little bit of honey also stored there. Very nice frame again with brood. Lots of capped brood, so they're going to hatch out a nice winter cluster to keep warm. I'll show you this. Look at all that. I don't know if you can see in there. I got a lot of nice capped brood. This frame's going to hatch out. That'll boost their population. Again, another nice brood frame that's hatching out nicely. And there's a good bit of eggs at the bottom of this frame. So I got one more frame to check. Let's see what this one says. Again, another brood frame. And I have not visually seen the queen yet. Maybe she's on this side. Let's look. There she is. Alright. See if you can find the queen. Bring it over. She should be in the center of the frame here. I don't know if you can see her walking around. So it's always good to see your queen bee. Eggs is actually a good indicator too. So if you see eggs, that's great. But the queen bee is proof. Oh, I just got my first sting of the day. Right on the tip of my finger. That's what happens when you don't watch where you put your fingers. Alright. Now what I like to do, if I do get a sting on my finger, I like to smoke, just put a little smoke on it. And hopefully you won't get another sting in the same spot, because they'll look for that. Alright, it's time to make a decision on what to do with this colony. They do have a decent supply of honey, even though it's spread out among several frames. There's two things I can do, and one of them is I can leave them with what they've got for now, because it's still going to be warm. In fact, today it's going to be almost 90 where I live. Maybe where you live it'll only be in the 70s. So what I finally decided to do with this colony was they had just a couple frames with honey and in a box that was mostly empty. So I took those two frames, I boosted a colony that needed a couple frames of honey, and I condensed this colony into 2 boxes instead of 1, which is going to be good for them during the winter when they cluster and try to maintain their warmth. And plus too, I'll feed them just a little bit. They don't need a lot, but they do need a little bit to make sure that they pack their cells full so that they're nice and heavy going into winter. So that's how we winterize a colony, and I hope this helps with you and your beekeeping. See you next time.